The other day, I had a student sort of giggly, laughing, say to me, "Yeah, but you've got tenure. You can't be fired." Do you really believe that? Greetings and welcome to another episode of Is This Going to Be on the Test? My name is Joe Burns. I am a professor. And not because I'm professing, and not because I am a teacher. Aren't all university teachers professors? No. I am a professor because I have achieved the rank of professor, which means I have been tenured twice. Yeah, it's a little more than that, those of you who understand it, but look, I got 10 minutes to talk to people here. And by the way, I do need your attention for 10 minutes, and please like, subscribe. We had a wonderful little fun talk in my 100 class, and one young lady sort of jokingly, and she wasn't being mean, but she jokingly said, "Well, you can do anything you want, you got tenure. You can't be fired." Really? You believe that? You think because I was granted tenure from my university, I was granted a professorship, I can't be fired. I can do anything I want and can't be fired. You mean I can go into class every day, pick a different student, and punch her in the face? Just boom, and down she goes. Then, in the afternoon, I can go into my university laboratories, I can steal all the computers and I can sell them on eBay to buy a whole lot of whiskey, which I drink, and then I come to class just drunk as hell and I stand there and I yell at the students and go, "You think you're better than me?" And they can't fire me? No. There was a 1972 Supreme Court case that proved, yes, you can fire a tenured professor. There just has to be just cause, a decent reason to fire him or her. Now, the question of just cause comes into it, and understand also, if you are going to remove a tenured professor, he or she is given some rights beyond just simply, you're fired, get out the door. At my university, you're given 2 semesters, what they call an academic year, to continue working and find a job. However, yeah, I can be fired. The Supreme Court said I can be fired. But here's the thing. Why would I be fired? I'm doing my job. I'm kicking tail. If you're working at a place and you're kicking tail and you're doing well, you're not going to get fired either. But let's talk about it. Why tenure? What's the purpose of it? So you can't be fired. It really doesn't go to that. The purpose of tenure is to allow the education system, is to allow people who are learned, who are attempting to teach, attempting to show new information, attempting to research new things, it gives them a protection. So if you're given tenure, you have the ability to say what some people might consider wacky or stupid or dumb or fireable. You're allowed to research, especially in the sciences. You're allowed to research things that people who hold sway over the university and people who are elected officials and donors and parents and alumni, maybe I don't like what he or she is researching, fire him or her. They can't be fired. Not for that reason. Not for that reason. That to be just cause. But just because somebody's like, "I don't like what you're doing," that's protection. That's what tenure is. It's a protection so the educational field can work and advance the knowledge uninhibited. Now, does that mean somebody does something stupid? Of course. Of course it does. But the concept of tenure is so that knowledge can be advanced without somebody who goes, "I don't like that," stepping in and, "I will withdraw my money and I want to do that." No, it's a protection so it can keep going forward. And you say to yourself, well, come on, why would they tenure that person? It's a 6-year process. At least it is everywhere I've worked. It's a 6-year process to become tenured. So you have to, in 6 years, and by the way, you have a review at 3 years, you have to prove to the university that you are somebody they want to keep. You have to prove that you are really good at your job, and just don't hand out tenure like candy. You have to prove you're really good at your job, and you have to prove that you are going forward with this idea of advancing the knowledge base. For example, at my university, and I think it's pretty much the same, they use different words, but it's pretty much the same everywhere. If you're going to be tenured by a university, you have to A, prove you're a very good teacher. How? Well, people are going to come and watch you. Really? I've done it. I have been multiple times the person who goes in and fills out the form on the professor. This is what I think. He or she did this. He or she did not do this. You have to show you're really good. Plus, it's the people in the department that really decide whether tenure is going to happen or not. It's approved by everybody else, but it's people in the department that really decide whether you should get it or not. So they have a general idea, general feeling about you. Yeah, he or she's pretty good. We'd kind of like to keep them around. They're doing wonderful. That's the one. You got to show you are a good teacher. Number two, you got to show that you've provided service to the university. Have you served on committees? Have you been in the Senate? Have you done this? Have you did that? I'm a voiceover artist, so I read voices or read names at graduation. I do voice work at the football games. I've been on multiple committees and such. Then the third thing you have to show is publication. The idea of moving the knowledge base forward, adding to it. Nothing gets to be stagnant. You have to publish books, publish articles, publish book chapters. And furthermore, on top of that, going to conferences where you are presenting to your peers information and they tell you whether it's good or bad, accept it and what have you. You have to show in some way that you have a line, as they call it, of research and that you are extending the database. If at the end of 6 years, the committee of the department decides that, yeah, this is somebody we want to hang on to, this is somebody who's moving the knowledge base forward, you can be granted tenure. Then, to become a full professor like me, you simply go through the process a second time. Now, there's different rules to it, but it took me a second year to do it. So it was a 12-year process for me to become a full professor. And lots of research, lots of publications, lots of classes taught, what have you. But by giving me tenure, they gave me protection to sit here and do this. I can say pretty much what I want on this podcast. I can publish on what I want. And I am protected from people who don't like what I said. That's what tenure is. But if I start becoming a really horrible person and stealing from the school, can I be fired? Yeah, you bet. So let me tell you some of the people you're going to meet when you are in university. You're going to be taught by a lot of different levels of people. And this level of people is just the same as any other place. There's people in the cubicles, there's middle managers, there's supervisors, there's the boss, there's all kinds of stuff. And it's the same thing in academia. But you got a shot at having a lecturer. He or she is brought in to lecture. That's it. They're paid the money for lecturing. You have then an instructor. Sometimes they're called adjunct instructors, and they are paid to teach classes. That's it. 5 or 6 a semester at my place, and they're paid by class, and you can make a nice little living at it. You then have assistant professors. These are the people that are hired that are on tenure track, which means in 6 years, they have a shot at getting tenure. And by the way, if you don't get tenure, you got to go. Got to go to another university. It's a way of saying, we don't want to take you. So if you take a job that's tenure track, you best knock it out of the park in 6 years, or your employment is terminated. I'm sorry about that. When you do get tenure, you are called an assistant professor. It's just like working in a law firm. They put your name on the door. When you go through the system twice, as I did, you become a full professor. And I have it. And I'm protected. I can say these things. I can stand up for the faculty and not fear ugly repercussion coming back. But can I be fired? You bet. Now let me give you one more thing that I hear about tenured professors. Oh, once a person becomes tenured, they just become a lazy loaf. They don't do anything. They just collect a paycheck and go home. Has that happened? Of course. Is there an idiot that worked his or her tail off for 6 years and then just do nothing? Yep. Is that cause enough to fire them? Depends on how much of a fight the school wants to get into. And a lot of times, if it happens that a tenured person is going to be fired because of cause, the firing usually doesn't happen. What happens is they say to that person, look, it's going to go on. You may want to quit. And the person either quits or they retire. But this belief system that once you become tenured, you become a lazy little punk that doesn't do anything, absolutely no truth to that. You didn't become tenured. I didn't become tenured by sitting on my tail. And once I became tenured, gosh, that was nice. I liked there was a little bump in salary, but I didn't stop writing. I didn't stop publishing because it's what I do. I'm creating these things right now. This idea that once a person becomes tenured, they're bulletproof, they can do nothing, and they just sit in their office and play Sudoku all day and do nothing, and it's just wrong. Has it happened? Sure. But the vast majority of tenured professors, they continue to kick tail. They continue to knock it out of the park. So back to tenure. Look, can I be fired? Yeah. Do I really have to do something stupid? Yeah. Am I protected to say what I want? Mm-hmm. Am I protected to research what I want? Mm-hmm. That's what tenure is all about. It doesn't matter what level your professor is. He or she is there to teach you, to knock it out of the park. So let them do it for you. And if you want to continue believing I have a guaranteed job, go ahead, because I think I do. How can you say that? Because I go to work every day and I give a damn about what I do. If that sounds maudlin, sorry, but it is. You get a job where you go to work every day and you kill it, you're probably going to stay hired too. And that wraps it up. I'm Joe Burns, and this has been, Is This Going to Be on the Test? Gosh, I hope so. That would be nice.